Jesse's on recording.
Thanks, Justin.
Are there any revisions or edits to the minutes from the last meeting? Yes. No.
No,
Then I move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Excellent. Are there any things to add or change in the agenda for tonight?
No,
No? Okay, then I would say we start our first project. The only, well, real project. Is the minor subdivision on Cottington Road, tax parcel 15-1-68.82. I believe we have to have a public.
Folder Bob provided.
I believe we have to have a public hearing, so I move that we open the public hearing. A second.
A second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Is there anyone to speak on the project? No, nobody else is online.
Nobody on Zoom.
Okay. I move that we close the public hearing.
I'm good.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Seeker, are there any, did you guys have any additional questions, concerns, thoughts on this project? Do you wanna,
There's been no changes, right, since last meeting?
as far as I know, there have been no changes. Bob, excellent.
No changes.
It was
And
the county provided the feedback, I think, that was shared with you, right? Or anyway,
No,
they didn't,
No.
they had no concerns, so.
okay.
okay,
Yes.
so they've reviewed.
Yeah.
Excellent. Does anybody want to see it, just to review 3 parcels?
Right.
All with one development, right? Farther
Right.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one-
and then that one goes to original. All right, any other questions?
I think we're good on secret, right? That's what you're looking for?
So, yes, for seeker, seeker part 2. I have, I have small to no impact, for all the questions. Do you want me to go through all of the questions for this?
No.
No, I think we handled that last meeting, so.
Feel comfortable? Then I move that we declare neg deck on seeker for the project. Got a second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, great. So any other discussion before we vote on approval of the project? No? Okay, then I move that we approve the subdivision, minor subdivision. Do I have to, oh shoot.
So we don't have Gene here with us.
Dean usually writes up the
So we don't,
It's
thing.
I can write it up.
Excellent,
okay, so we have the caveats about driveways and buildings and all that.
right, for the actual permit, when that's submitted for any or each or any of the lots. But parcel A, B, and C each have one development unit that are being allocated towards each of them. Otherwise, they meet all the zoning requirements, so I move that we accept this subdivision as presented.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Great.
That's all you need.
So, and I forget,
Jesse will sign it.
Jesse can stamp.
Jesse can sign and stamp it.
Okay. Alright.
As currently,
Currently written in.
yeah, subdivision law. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and I will leave that. Okay, then you're up, Chet.
Okay,
Feel free to.
if I could sit.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Say hello. Yeah, I'll just go through a few notes and a few thoughts, and then we can work through some of the drawings, updates that you have in front of you, and I'll show it's easier to see in big format, but as I was alluding to a couple of you before we got started here, it has been a up and down year for Distributed Sun and the project and the industry in general. So I'm gonna go through that and then just a couple other things that are happening as we move forward to get this break ground in this next year. So, you know, at the top, the new federal administration has come in with their own agenda. And in June, as what's called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was in planning, there was lots of drafts and counter drafts and so on and so forth. Anyway, we weren't sure that this project would still make financial sense without the benefit of a federal tax credit. So that sort of took some wind out of our sails earlier this year. But by August, we found out that there is a runway for projects to continue to qualify for the investment tax credit if they either break ground before July 3rd, 2026, or completely get it in service with the utility online by 2027. So we know that is feasible. We're getting back and getting the wind with us. And so after a little bit of a lull, we're getting back into action. And you know, some of the things I'll get into detail with, but we're happy, you know, that this still makes sense.
We were also worried. Do you think that you'll make both of those thresholds?
Yes, we aim to break ground in the spring of next year, which is part of the process we'll go through here. We would very much like to get turned on by the end of 2026, but frankly, a lot of that depends on how promptly NYSEG delivers power to the site and their protective equipment and poles and access roads, et cetera. So that's an unfortunate X factor in how that end date works out, but we can and plan to break ground to make sure we capture this project's value. So on that, you know, as Mark, I've said all communicated here, and Mark wrote a specific note on, we're also working with the Tompkins County Industrial Development Agency. We have a meeting with them tomorrow. We have an application in for them for, you know, they have a whole pilot program for solar projects that we're going to hear any public comments that they have on it tomorrow. There's a meeting in Ithaca for those who will be wanting to pay attention to that. So that would be
Just one question. Is
Yes.
the IDA providing funding for this?
So they provide, you know, a tax abatement, right? So
Yep.
so
That's
we
what you're asking for?
yes, they otherwise well, actually based on Tompkins County, Carolyn, and Newark Valley regs, the state law would govern that we wouldn't have to pay. Renewable energy property is exempted from property tax as a right, but we do go ahead and work with taxing jurisdictions to say, even though the state says we don't have to, as good neighbors in good faith, we will negotiate a payment that is defined for 25 years.
So does the IDA negotiate for the city school district?
So it's the three taxing jurisdictions that apply to our address are Town of Caroline, Tompkins County, and Newark Valley School District.
Yeah.
So those three jurisdictions, they will see the same information that we've presented to the IDA. The IDA will go around and, you know, any payment that goes to the IDA through this agreement will be split among those jurisdictions for the length of the agreement, the 25 years. There.
Is, so, like, for the town doesn't have any role in this, IDA figures it all out? Is there a standard formula they use? How does that work?
So this is an application to the IDA, and they have the authority under law to take on these types of agreements. Their remit is they have to split any dollar that comes in pro rata the same way any standard tax dollar would come in to a jurisdiction, which is to say, based on, you know, a property assessment across all the jurisdictions, roughly 60 cents goes to the school district. And usually the county gets like 21, just more than 20% of the dollar, and then the town gets the last bit, you know, 19 to 20%.
Yeah, okay.
So That's the standard breakdown, and that's how the IDA will work. I mean, jumping into it, maybe what we'll discuss more is that there are ways to work with the IDA to ask for an additional agreement to consider that, but time is going. So
Okay.
we can talk about that more tomorrow,
Perfect.
if you, unless we want to get to it. So we're working our way out of the federal uncertainty, working through the Tompkins County IDA. Our money is down with NYSEG, and now we are trying to power through. And actually, I've got my colleagues here from Pure Sky Energy. They're long-term partners of Distributed Sun. They are going to take over long-term ownership of the project. So when it comes to hiring the contractors and making sure, you know, all our, not our panels are clean, but we get the O&M needed on our site, they're going to be managing that stuff long-term. And we've had good success with them before. So they're going to be coming in. This Amber Hall, she's our project manager. Tyler is working on real estate with our landowners. So I'll be here all the way through construction, and then hand it off to my teammates here. So yeah, so that's our progress. I think what I want to now get into some of the details that it's good to have you on here, Bob. I think we'll be getting very cozy in the coming months, because yeah, the way the process has to sort of play out from here, right, is we're getting our steam going, and so we've got an updated drawing set, and then we've got the rest of the conditions that the review board provided for us to get the site plan review earlier this year. And so we're going to be starting to work to check those off one by one. And Bob, that's why I'm pointing to you, is because we'll be working through those individually. Some of them actually end up kind of being a joint effort. But I think one question I do want to bring out and make sure is clear with everyone is we're going to be going into detailed engineering, i.e. something ready for the SWIP and T.G. Miller's engagement, and starting to consider the building permit while the DEC is still reviewing our incidental take permit. We still expect multiple months from the DEC to review our permit with respect to that Northern Harrier that was observed on site. Unfortunately, we can't particularly speed up them as much as we'd like. But what I'd just like clarified is if we can start reviewing detailed designs on the path towards a building permit, we're not going to get a building permit until all the conditions are met. But if that is understandable procedurally and makes sense for you guys, I'd like to start working that process with Bob.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Great. So then jumping into a couple key things that we have knocked out, and a couple others I'll just give updates on. Don, got some of your comments the other week about what's changed, and I've got this draft that I printed. This one does have clouded areas on what has changed, and I will say it's actually not too much at this draft. We're going to get into a bit more details as we get the final SWIP and final details squared away. So that's been one of them. Another one was engagement with all the fire chiefs. Actually, Speedsville is the closest to the project, and we've been working with Ed Klopp on that one. But actually today we met with Greg Harrington and Chris Jordan out of Slaterville and Brooktondale. So they're all engaged and present, and at least verbally they said, we understand the project, and we look forward to our briefing at construction and after commissioning to make sure they understand how they can support and how much we should be taking the lead on. It's a specialized technology, right? So based on our discussion with them, I think they're going to write a letter to the review board that more or less states aware, ready for the project, and ready for the briefings as construction and commissioning occur. And then there was another comment previously that we had some non-native plantings that were specified. That was a comment in there. We got that one taken care of. So that was an easy button one. So I can get out the drawings now. We can just look at those few little clouded spots and compare it to the old one. I think one of the areas that was the most interesting was the Department of Ag and Markets was very into linear stockpiles of soil rather than circular ones, which is a common convention among other construction projects, but they got their ability to say, we want our stockpiles on the side of the road, so we gave them what they wanted, and that's some of the
So this was not a berming.
it's
It's just the way they want you to store it.
it's just the way that, yeah, so Mr. Giroux said it, he wanted it that way, so we had our engineer.
Got you.
So, exactly. So let me just quickly show those to you guys, and then if we want, we can just run through. There were 11 conditions, and I can give you a quick brief on them, but they're not all quite running. So this is the new set. And Jesse, I think you're on there. So I checked. The one I just sent should have all the bubbled areas on it. But yes,
I don't know if it has all of them, but it has a lot of them.
yes, it has the key ones to call out what we're gonna do. So first and foremost, like what we went through with our friends at the fire department was one thing they were concerned about is basically safe egress, right? That if there's a grass fire, you know, they want to have an alternate exit. And so what we provided for every fenced in area, there's a way in and a way out. So for example, this is a fenced in area up here. This will be the conventional entrance, which actually is through the other project. There's an exit out that way. This is a fenced in area, entrance, exit, exit. Multiple ways out that one. These ones do go to other places, but this fenced in area, that's your way in, that's your alternate way out, clouded area. Similarly, this is an additional fenced area, one way in and another way out. It's an additional fenced area. That's your primary entrance. That's your secondary exit. So that was one thing that they were concerned about.
So just a question on that.
Mhm.
So I saw the bubbles, that those are, they're gates that you have there.
Yes,
So the gates are locked.
yes.
And how does the fire company unlock them?
So there'll be a inside, yeah, so it's.
They'll be inside. So they
Yes,
can
yeah,
unlock from the inside.
it's only meant for egress, right? So it's not, and another element that, maybe this is very detailed for you, but we proposed a Knox box system, which is to us convention. They had concerns about the phone line with Frontier, so we're working on an alternate of codes.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah, very valid concern. So, other elements, they wanted to, our roads were already designed to handle their 3,000 gallon tank, so that was not an issue, but they wanted to make sure we had sufficient distance in all our turnaround areas. They've observed these. I heard no concerns from them. One question that they had that we clarified is they had hoped for 20-foot wide roads so that 2 fire engines or tanks could go side by side. Our roads are 12-foot wide, and we told them that, you know, roughly this is about 600 feet in between all these turnouts, and they nodded and said, okay, that's enough for us, because they had some
Yes.
story of someone, was it a mile and a half?
Yeah,
So-
reversing.
Some horror story of theirs, they had to reverse out a mile and a half, so they were okay with 600 feet.
And it's up a hill and it has switchbacks.
I'm sure it had all that. They're good people there. So fire company, Speedsville Fire and the other fellows have seen this. I think they're okay with that. We'll get the letter to follow up, but that's those parts there. Getting into the detail of.
So you have this, moving around existing hedgerow to remain. So this must have not been in the original one?
So that was just a clarification requested by the Department of Ag and Markets, right? Is they just saw hedgerow and they're like, what's gonna happen? So we said, that part remains. We have the additional plantings here.
Okay.
And then as we go through a few more of these, you'll see the preference in here is for these very linear stockpiles of soil here as well. So this was a preference by the Department of Ag and Markets, and that's what we're.
It's probably for planting pumpkins.
Solar pumpkins, I've heard solar honey, I think we've all heard solar honey right now, but anyway, this was per their request. Our engineer specifically spoke to their reviewer. And they wanted those stockpiles in addition to those ones. We've got our silt fences around it, so we won't lose the material.
Because these stockpiles stay until these solar panels are removed,
Not until they're removed, until they're commissioned, right?
until they're commissioned.
Yeah, so we'll be able to.
And then what happens to them after that?
Yeah, how do you get the top
Oh.
soil there over here?
Sorry, you're right. It does stay until they're removed.
It's okay, it's
Yeah.
not going anywhere, so if you
Yeah,
put it in
yeah,
cover on it.
Yep, that'll stay there. So, yeah, just more linear stockpiles. I don't think that's particularly exciting information, but there it is. All these
Yeah.
linear stockpiles, and then we'll get to,
So will the linear stockpiles be planted at all?
we don't have plans for it, but if someone donate pumpkin, right? I don't
You
think
gotta
that'll-
seed it. You gotta seed it though, then.
Yeah.
Grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is grass. That's part of the closeout for the stormwater pollution
Yeah.
prevention.
Sure.
Is that all the grass has to take as
Yeah.
part of that, plan. So 14. And then the last, so we changed our planting program for some of these elements. Say those are all non-native, the native, they're all native. So I don't want them to be non-native anymore.
Good job.
Okay. Those are my headlines for that.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah.
You bet. This is your guys' copy. We have the 11.17 if you need them. Leave that there.
Bob can have this. Bob can have this.
Keep it on there, there, hit the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, so then just sort of calling out, I was looking back over the conditions, just quickly running through some of them. Several of them basically just revolve around the detailed design and the SWIP review, right? There's 2, 3, and 4 more or less centered around that process. And we've just kicked off. Now that we have these drawings squared away, we're kicking off our engineers to go forward with that SWIP program. And that's what'll be coming to you probably next month.
So the SWIP review is done, coordinated by the town.
Yes, so the DEC, so it'll be submitted to the town, the DEC has to do it, and I'm sure TG Miller will be specifically looking at it from your town's perspective, but.
Gotcha.
Yeah, all those partiers are involved. So we'll have, one of the other elements was plantings and the fire chief, so that cuts off many of them. I think there's 2 major items that we're still working to knock off. One of them is the incidental take permit for the Northern Harrier. That's going to be submitted. I think we'll get that out this week. And that is a multi-month process with the DEC. We have, in order to do these permits, we have to provide the net conservation benefit plan. So they have observed that we will be displacing habitat of 104 acres of the birds. So we need to actually provide offsets, right? So we actually, interesting enough, we're going to be working with Cornell University. They've got a Dunlop Meadow, one of their properties here in town. And so that will be,
Right, close by.
Yeah,
it's right there. That was a good one. So that's going to be providing the bulk of our conservation needs. So they've agreed to manage and mow the grounds in a particular way over 35 years. And we'll have to do some monitoring to support that. And then there's another group, the Grassland Bird Trust, who will also be providing a smaller amount of conservation support. We've got those parties engaged, applications going in, multi-month process. That's sort of the reason why I started with that question earlier, is because this is a multi-month process that we believe will take longer than our engineering.
Does that bird species currently use the Dunlop Meadows? Do they?
It has been observed there, yes.
They are there now.
Yes, there's years,
Sure. And-
years worth of records there, multiple.
Yeah,
and
and they
regular-
manage it different ways so they can adjust it.
Yep,
Yep.
yep, and so that's part of what we worked out with Cornell's Botanical Gardens is the group that,
So you're just getting a commitment to manage those lands that are already suitable for Harriers forward in the same way that we'll keep it that way.
yes,
Okay,
yeah, that, we're guaranteeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whatever we've disturbed there, we're gonna do better elsewhere,
okay.
right? Net conservation benefit. So we have to go do better for that. So that one will take some time. And then the final one, the Corps of Engineers is going to be approving, we have a culvert on site. So it's up to the northeast, going over a creek. We saw it today, I joked it was roaring creek of Tavelli lands, and there was, of course, no water.
It's because we haven't had any in 2 months.
That's true, but I've been there before and it's still not a gusher. I'll say that. Regardless, we have to notify the Corps.
Things happen.
Hey, things happen.
If you had come in early June and we had just had 8 inches of rain in 3 weeks, you would have seen.
You know, I probably would have seen
Yeah.
them, yes. So that process, there's, as it goes, there's feed-ins to go to that. One of them is the DEC needs to agree, and the State Historic Preservation Office, the Corps' processes require that. So we're obviously going through both of those now, and that will be a final okay that we'll need to tie in. So unfortunately, permitting is not easy with these other entities, but I'm happy to keep you guys informed as it goes. But this is the stuff we'll have to check off with Bob and keep this thing going so we can, you know, break ground in the spring.
For the SWIP, is that mainly a conversation with TG Miller and your engineers to?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I've tried to digest the several hundred pages of simulations they run on the back of those, and just a whole bunch of curves that just look, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, Colliers will produce that. They'll submit it formally to the town, and I presume it will go sort of in parallel. TG Miller will review on your behalf, and
Okay.
that will speak to the DEC processes. Because that, you need that approval to get the statewide permit discharge elimination. Speedies.
Speedy.
Yes, the S, forget the last S, but. So, those are my updates. And just wanted to keep you guys informed and ready to
Great.
keep get our momentum back.
And I think earlier, were you alluding to what I brought up about a host community agreement?
Yes.
So, yeah, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about it. Is that something that the IDA is also involved with? Or is that?
They could be,
Okay,
they should be, but, you know, in short.
we have to talk.
Yeah, we've made a proposal to them about what we think we need. I think that ties into very much to what you would be asking for in a host. The conversations are very intertwined about
Okay,
what a host benefit agreement would do and a pilot would do. I think so.
Is that a relationship to the power who gets?
it's separate.
Okay.
It's supposed to, my understanding is it's an agreement to, with the host community, that's the most impacted community to mitigate. Fair?
Yes.
Yeah, it's so,
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna ask a similar question about, because we said that the town would be able to get another shot.
Yeah, town gets first shot.
PSC still putting the kibosh to that, or is the town still?
So I'm I'm sorry, I forget some of my details on this specific arrangement. The PSC did change.
Right,
This is right, I think the PSC changed some of the regulations such that the utility is just simply buying all the community solar in bulk and then handling on their back end. So that was that discussion we had last year, and I believe that is
still.
the case.
Okay.
You know, because they had just changed it while we were applying,
Right.
so.
Another question might be off the charts, but I was told, do you have a definite that NICEAG will be buying the power?
Yes.
Okay, because I just was dealing with somebody yesterday, because I'm gonna put in a small solar array,
Mhm.
and they had 2 solar farms.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that the DEC was refusing to buy the power from them.
Very nice, eh?
Nice.
So they're gonna have to do something else or something, which is the first I've ever heard of it. So I just thought I would ask.
They're gonna need the power if there's no data center on the lake.
Right.
Yes, the data centers are. That I can't
Right.
decode enough out of that to
Right.
figure
Well, I
out
had-
exactly what's going on,
like I said, I
but
just was
Yeah.
told this yesterday and it was new to me and I thought, didn't make any sense, but he said they were held up.
and you said it's something that was already built.
Yep,
Huh.
their farms of good size, they're not a private, and
Yeah.
he said that this is what was happening and it's the other side of Ithaca, and I was like, first I've heard,
Yeah,
could be total bull too, for all I know.
I
just thought I'd
unfortunately
just- Okay,
can't get anything more for you out of that. We have signed agreements with
Okay.
NICEAG.
But
I was gonna
Those
say,
are-
it seems weird that they would have built
Yeah.
it without the agreements
Yeah.
in place, so.
Yeah, there's a whole
There's
application.
something weird going on there.
Why would they accept the money and build out the line?
Yeah, it would,
Yeah,
Right.
so.
right.
something over there.
okay, great.
So I have one question, not for you, maybe it's more of a statement for the folks that be operating. So we had a lot of discussion during the application phase about agriculture on this property. And it's not part of our conditions for the permit that agriculture be encouraged on this parcel, but has been in agriculture all this time. So the town would be welcoming any agricultural activity that might take place on this. So I know they were talking about pumpkins on the berms. It's sort of tongue in cheek, but it's not all that much tongue in cheek. If opportunities arise, that'd be something that the town would look favorably upon as another way to collect sun on that parcel. The other thing that came out whenever we were doing our review process is that the operation is required to follow the ag markets guidelines for solar. And in that, it has an environmental monitor that you would hire and then provide reports to Bob or to the town. So that's an expectation that we have.
Yep, of course, especially throughout the construction process.
Sure.
Providing updates on, progress as we break ground, for sure, and we explored agrivoltaics. For some of our projects previously, I haven't seen it pencil out yet in New York State. But that's something that we can certainly consider once the project is built and see how much room there is for either sheep grazing, if that was approved. That's a way to kind of incorporate it, or kind of incorporate community events for, the local school district, for any pumpkins that may be grown or any other native pollinators. That's something that we can show from an education standpoint as well. So we'd be willing to work with you guys on that.
Good. Yeah, this
Anything,
could be a resource.
Yeah.
is
of
Caleb
course.
still bugging you, or? is that-
Not recently, but
Well,
it's because I haven't poked him. Whenever I poke him, he comes back.
once construction starts, you'll probably get a call from Caleb Scott,
Yeah,
as far as running sheep.
well, long time friend. Well,
And
I'll
local,
say long time friend.
with a very, very strong,
Yes.
solar sheep grazing advocate, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he, I can't remember if I said, anyway, he supported Distributed Sun in a consulting sense a few years ago to work in a very, it was a very challenging community that wanted to maintain their row crops. And when I proposed Caleb and we'll graze sheep at this former field of corner, so what have you. The code enforcement officer called it fancy landscaping. So anyway, different strokes for different folks. So.
Alright, excellent.
There's one nitpicky thing is, I noticed the plantings, that American Holly was listed,
American Holly was listed. Is that,
was it? Right, I mean, but there's Winterberry Holly that I've seen wild here, it's a native holly. I haven't, I've seen American Holly farther south, but it's not like, I don't think it's common here in the natural landscape. Winterberry Holly is
We did
very,
hire, get Sue Pierce Kellenbach involved. You ever look over? that
she
list?
was the one who called it out.
Yeah.
So,
I thought she mentioned Winterberry.
I remember that, I think she did.
Yeah, I think she was talking about Winterberry Holly, so I would,
I'll double check that for you guys.
Yeah. it's
Still
There's-
time to change that.
tons of it growing, and it grows in all wet areas, lawn area, it's versatile, so.
Review American Holly. That's what I need.
Alright, I'm gonna call the,
Yeah.
or
We can still get
close out the end of the meeting.
Can I ask,
Unless there's.
Bob, did you say that there was a lot line adjustment on for tonight?
No,
Okay,
no, that's next month. I'm sorry.
okay, sorry,
If he did, we didn't receive it. So-
Yeah, I didn't see it in the agenda either, so.
Yeah. great, okay,
But you foresee that coming next month?
Yes, yep. Applications in.
Okay, well, that ought to be exciting. Anything else for next
Not
month?
yet. Sorry.
Great. You're getting like killed by 1,000 cuts, Mark.
A lot.
What?
it's
Yeah.
on the, we just haven't done it yet, so.
Alright, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna adjourn the meeting unless there's any. Okay, great.
A second.
Meeting adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank